Welcome back. It's Brendan Borman. Donald Trump is the betting favorite across sportsbooks to be the next U.S. president. 2024 presidential election is right around the corner, and we have you covered here at 270 Videos. I love playing this election game. If you want more content on how to be a better player, subscribe. Help us reach our goal of 5K before Election Day. But let's look at these sports books. We've got FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, Bet365, and Caesars data to look at. Donald Trump is a minus 125 favorite to be the president according to Caesars Sportsbook. That means you have to bet $125 just to win $100. The odds are moving toward the former president, especially after some of the latest developments going on in the political landscape. We had this ridiculous tweet on the Super Bowl from Joe Biden that have seen his odds crash down from a minus 500 to a minus 240 just to be the Democratic nominee. We have had, of course, the stuff going on in New York with the lawsuit and the business and the big fine he has to pay and the court of public opinion backing Donald Trump. We have tons of businesses leaving the state. We have the truck drivers backing Donald Trump. We've got, of course, our border issues going on. And yes, I know there are many people who do not like the president, but Donald Trump is like the guy from South Park who I don't hear no bell. He keeps getting back up. Whatever you throw at him, he is going to be there no matter what when it comes down to it. Whether he wins or not, that's another story. Now, plus 110 is the best odds that you can get at Bet365 if you think that Donald Trump will be the president, that you get the most bang for your buck. But, look at the other names that they're offering. We've got Joe Biden, of course, who is plus 240 on DraftKings. Plus 200 is the worst odds you can get at Caesars Sportsbook. But you're still doubling your money on the incumbent president who, by his standards, has been a positive president. Now, if you ask other people, you might get a different opinion. We've got Michelle Obama, Gavin Newsom, Nikki Haley, Kamala Harris, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Dean Phillips on this list. Nikki Haley, way down at plus 2,500. We have Kamala Harris. She's not even offered on Caesars Sportbook. She's off of it because the odds are too long, but plus 5,000 for the VP on FanDuel. You've got Dean Phillips at plus 150,000. Then you have a Gavin Newsom at a plus 1,200 on Caesars. Michelle Obama is a name I'd like to talk about for a second because if you think that Joe Biden is going to drop out because of his age or he's just waiting until the election, you can get plus 900 on FanDuel or BetMGM. But I just don't see it. I think that there really isn't a world she runs for president. I see why people would push that name, but I just don't see it. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had his Super Bowl commercial, and I just don't see anyone outside of the political spectrum talking about him, plus 3,000. It'd have to be like plus 300,000 for me to even entertain something like that. And even you've got Donald Trump being pulled off the ballot in Colorado, pulled off the ballot in Maine, and yet he's still the betting favorite. I just think you have to listen to the betting markets a little bit and, common sense. Donald Trump in 2016 showed us that there is a group of people who will back him, and they may not tell you that they're going to back him. And the odds switched dramatically, really quickly. That I was watching the live stream, had a 95% chance according to the 538. It was only a couple hours in, and people are just laughing at that. But the betting markets know what's going on, and I don't know. I just think that if you wanted to back Donald Trump, the odds may even get a little bit stronger for the president as we get closer to the election. Now, of course, he has all of his legal issues he has to go through, and maybe you're not even someone who wants to wager on the presidential election. I think just knowing who's going to win, and having that information can be a good thing. But, every time Donald Trump talks about who his vice presidential candidate is going to be, everyone tunes in. You look at all of his rallies and all the people that come. I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be that excitement around any other candidates. And, maybe it turns into something else closer to the election, maybe abortion or maybe, the economy or another issue. But I just look at our border, at our southern border. I think about, hey, we had a chance to have Joe Biden be president. We've had a chance for Donald Trump to be president. And people are going to look at that and go, which presidency did we have a better economy? Which presidency did we have better leadership? Which one did we not have a global conflict? I don't know. I just think that all signs are pointing to Donald Trump to be the next president of the United States. Let me know in the comments what you think. I do want to talk about the VP race as it is in the middle of February here. Every time Donald Trump talks, he talks about several different names. And I've made a video about Elise Stefanik. I've made Tim Scott. I put a candidate with him in 270. And I just think that as we get closer and closer, I think that we are going to know his vice presidential candidate in the summertime, but I don't think he has to do it anytime soon. We have Super Tuesday around the corner. We've got Kristi Noem as a possible running mate. We have Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Ben Carson. These are all great names, but a name I want to mention that I think is possibly a really good candidate for Donald Trump would be Tulsi Gabbard. Donald Trump was asked at a recent town hall who some potential vice presidential candidates could be, and he gave 6 names: Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, businessman Vivek Ramaswamy, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, Florida Representative Byron Donalds, and South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. Now, Gabbard has not made any public comments about joining Donald Trump's campaign, to my knowledge. However, I think that it would be a good partnership, and she has even mentioned on TV that she would be open to a conversation. It's been her mission in life to serve the country and serve the American people and find the best way to be able to do that. And I think that being a vice president, that would be a good way to do that. Now, would she be good at her job? Would the American people back her? I remember when Joe Biden announced that he was going to elect the first Black Supreme Court justice, or that I was going to have the first, female vice president, all these other things. I hate when someone goes out and says, I'm going to do this because I want to find the best person. Now, yes, have there been minorities, or has it been difficult for some people to have certain jobs? Absolutely. Look at the NFL and the Rooney Rule. Yes, there should be a process in place to make sure that candidates are not just given a job based off of who they are or what they look like. I mean, obviously, discrimination is wrong. But I don't like those things, but you have to be honest. Look at the voters. Voters have said in polls that, a female vice president would be a good thing for our country. And I think that Republicans are trying to listen to the people and not saying we're going to have a female vice president for sure, but I do think that Tulsi Gabbard is a little bit more on the moderate side. I do think she is attractive to a certain type of voter. And if you aren't able to stomach Donald Trump, maybe if your choices came down to Joe Biden versus Donald Trump again, maybe the vice president could actually make a difference in this election. Usually, vice presidential candidates are important for swing states or for their home state. And we'll see. Donald Trump, every time he talks about his VP candidate, I just mentioned this a few minutes ago, but it's just instant news. It's free press. Why is he going to rush to make this decision when he does not have to? That's all I'm saying. Now, speaking of rushing, you could rush out and put a wager on the 2024 election, or you could wait. But let's not wait anymore. Let's talk about this 270 game. Thank you if you've made it this far to turn number 10. We started off in California, expanded and got oil and gas, and now we have the high-tech bonus. Our opponents, the first one, base Donald Trump, dropped out. We had John McCain go into high-tech, into New York, and then he was pushed around by me a little bit. Donald Trump is in the lead in this game. That's me, of course. I'm going into some of the open states, and I'm going to force a ballot because the player that I am most likely going to come down to is George Washington. George Washington is the Green candidate. He is in Texas, and he is not coming at me this turn. He is just spending $200,000. We are looking for a potential steal in California. That's what we're guarding up against. So, again, if you are just tuning in to this is 270, the mobile game. You can download on the iOS. You can play it on Facebook Games or Steam. It is one of my favorite political games out there. Now, I have oil and gas, and I have high-tech money, which can help me defend. However, I've been defending California every single turn, so maybe I can set a trap for my opponent. So what I'm thinking about doing here is not spending any money on this turn. Fingers crossed, I can maybe have a ballot, or maybe I just convince my opponent that I'm not going to defend California anymore, and then next turn he will go for it. We do have a flip in Washington, but thankfully, because we are in Maryland, we do not lose the high-tech bonus with Pennsylvania, Michigan, and with Maryland. California, do we have enough money to steal New York? That is debatable, but if we eliminate John McCain, will inherit New York anyway, so let's go up 2 pips in California. And we still have a little bit of free cash. Maybe we can steal back Washington, or we can just sit on our money because, again, same strategy with New York. Why force it? And there is a $1.2 million clash in California. The interesting thing is we had some movement up in New York, but it looks like that George Washington is not taking over in Florida, not taking over in New York just quite yet. And so we are going to use this opportunity to protect Maryland or steal Washington. If I keep one of those, that will allow me to keep high tech. I no longer have to spend in New York, so now I can build up my cash for a potential ballot play. Let's go ahead and end my turn here. California to the 3rd pip. Okay, so George Washington is really hedging his bets in the big states. We did have a flip in Colorado and a flip in New Mexico and Oklahoma. So that Oklahoma flip is going to take away our oil and gas bonus, which is unfortunate. However, we have a 181 EVs, and if George Washington attacks either in Florida or in New York, that will pretty much eliminate McCain, and we'll get all those oil and gas states back. We have to watch out for California. So I still have high tech. I could lock Washington and just keep it, or I could zero spin and hope I don't lose Maryland and Washington, which is what I'm leaning towards because I will need that high-tech money in New York. Turn 15, George Washington is spending across the board and locks North Carolina. McCain was hoping I would come after him in oil. He does flip Washington, but because we held Maryland, we will not lose high-tech. And there is a ballot. Now we're going to defend Maryland, but also go after Massachusetts. Florida's tempting, but I don't want to have a clash. Let's go up in the old South states, hopefully get a bonus, but also just lock in a high floor of EVs. and a couple 1-pip defenses. I think Tennessee, if I can get it, would be a great steal. Arizona likely will work. It does. Okay, so that's 11. We should be safely into the next round. Yep, McCain is going to come up quite a bit short. Lots of 1-pip steal attempts from McCain. Texas defense and Wisconsin defense. So manufacturing, ag, and gun lobby are the bonuses for Washington. However, now that McCain has dropped out, now he has access in New York. He also has access in Florida. So we're going to have oil and gas, high tech, and Old South, as well as some of our national groups. We are going to get into as many states as possible. And we're going to see what George Washington plans to do on turn 17. He does have Latino. He does have African American, which is a small bonus for George Washington. I would be spending in Florida if I were him, but he does come for me in California, which is not a bad play, because if I'd overexpended here, I would have a hard time defending it next turn, because he has Latino. He also has export. He has, what else? He has agriculture, a big agriculture bonus that lets him go up in California. So he can for sure go 2 pips. We're going to block him there. I could go after New York. I could go after Florida. Let's go after Florida, because if we are able to steal Florida, that will give us swing states. It will also take away... No, he's got Latino. It might take away export. Let's go ahead and do this. So we got a Virginia steal. California clash. We maintain control. Florida steal is successful. He locks Tennessee, and we get to flip Virginia. So there's African American and swing, so he loses AA as well. We can still double pip the state of California. We can lock Florida, and we can end our turn. Now, Virginia, probably unlikely he goes after at this point, but that was a great steal for us. Those easy EVs. He does spend 462. He's doing a lot of defending this turn, which normally you would want to go for offense when you're down electorally. We're at 297, in great shape. Here's the ballot round. Yep, we can just go up in Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina. We have $105,000 in oil and gas, but he's not contesting us anywhere. Washington is safe. Wisconsin we can go for with swing states. California will go up by 1 pip, and then if we find a couple other states that are just only entered into the first pip, we can go up to the second pip. Let's quickly switch out with 1 second to go to make sure we cover Missouri. We're down in Missouri, so maybe we can flip those EVs. Missouri flips. Nice. So there's 10 EVs. Texas is defended, and so is Wisconsin. So we are going to win 317 to 221. So Donald Trump 2024, not only is he the betting favorite currently, he's also a 270 favorite. Hope you're liking this video. Don't forget to subscribe to 270 videos. We're going to play one more match. I'll be creating a rematch of the 2012 presidential election, and I'm going to be trying to change history. I'll be playing against Barack Obama, and I will be Mitt Romney. Barack Obama is by far a better candidate inside the game, and Romney has a high-tech bonus, being from Utah. And so we're going to let our opponent go national groups. We are going to prioritize getting into California. We are easily just going to 1 pip on turn 1 and do the same thing on turn number 2. Now we can pivot to Texas if we need to. We can also go to New York. But look for Obama to close off his national groups. And really the game starts on this turn. So Obama has to guard against us going to New York. He also might hedge against us going oil and gas. But we are going to go high tech with the Utah, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania combination, which is just enough to get us high tech. It's also Utah and Massachusetts are also town and gown states. So I can also get into a few more town and gown states without New York and get that bonus, something like a North Dakota, Iowa, Minnesota combination. So depending on what Obama does, which he has zero spending, so he's building up that free cash. He's probably going to state chase me in California. So let's open up into oil and gas. We're going to hold off on town and gown. We're going to prioritize oil and gas. It's a little bit higher of a bonus for Romney, and it also will allow me to pivot to Texas, where I will have Pennsylvania for manufacturing should I go that way. I could also abandon ship and go Michigan. However, he only has enough to go up 4 pips, 800,000. He's 25,000 short of getting one more pip. And so we're going to hold off a turn on going up in oil and gas. We are just going to defend California. So likely this is going to be an overspend, and maybe Obama can go for a New York and Florida, get African American, and really push me that way. Except no, he goes for it. It's a foolish move. We do block, and now we're in the catbird seat. So now we can go up in California, complete our oil and gas, and then we can expand into Texas, eventually get the oil and gas, the agriculture Latino bonus, expand into Florida, another zero spend. Don't tell me that's it. That's it. Obama didn't want my smoke today. But thank you so much for watching this stream. I'll catch you guys in the next 270 video.